All praise, honor, and glory be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Salutations to the Akim, called into the truth. Peace and blessings to the blessed elect of the house of Israel, scattered across the four corners of the earth. And without further ado, this is the third part of explaining St. Luke, the 10th chapter and the 18th verse. And this last segment, I'm going into heaven being rulership, whereas there are three heavens. Okay, there's the heaven where the Father dwelleth, what people call the fourth dimension. All right, the heavens of heavens. And there's the firmament, which is called the heaven, the sky, when you go outside and look above. And also there's heaven as dominion and rulership, kingdom, king dominance, right? So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's read the topic scripture first. And this is St. Luke 10 and 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Let's go into the definition of heaven. And this is G3772. All right, G3772. You got the third definition. The number one definition is the vaulted expanse of the sky with all things visible in it. Then you got the Strong's definition, which says, through the idea of elevation, the sky, by extension, heaven as the abode of God. That's the third heaven. By implication, happiness, power, eternity. That's the first heaven. That's the second heaven. Salat. That's the second heaven. By implication, happiness, power, eternity. Specifically, the gospel, Christianity, air, heaven, sky. Let's go to perhaps from the same as. It says a mountain. Strong's definition, probably from an obsolete word, real perhaps, compare a mountain as lifting itself above the plain hill. Exaltation, elevation, through the ideal of elevation, being high above. All right. So now we got the definition of heaven. Actually, in that definition, it gives the three heavens, really. You know. Let's go into the precepts to explain it. And this is 2 Corinthians 12 and 2. I knew a man in Mashiach above 14 years ago, whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth, such an one caught up to the third heaven. So, such an one caught up to the third heaven. As I mentioned before, the third heaven is the fourth dimension where the Father dwelleth. Now, in this context, this is Paul speaking on Yahweh Shai as he ascended, as he was caught up to the Most High, right? But according to topic of conversation, St. Luke, the 10th chapter and the 18th verse, we see right now that there's three heavens. If there's a third, there's a second, and there's a first. So that third heaven, by scripture, 2 Corinthians 12th chapter and the second verse, showing you that there's a third heaven. So let's continue on with the lesson. Let's go to Genesis, and let's get that first heaven. All right, Genesis 1 and 8. And it reads, and the power called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. He called the firmament heaven, the firmament the sky. Let's read the 7th verse to give us some understanding. Genesis 1 and 7. And the power made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And the power called the firmament heaven, the sky, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So as we see, that would be the first heaven, this firmament. The third heaven would be where the Most High dwelleth. Now, what is the second heaven? Because we know that there are three heavens. He just said he called the firmament a heaven. And then Yahweh Shai ascended and was caught up to the third heaven, where the Father dwelleth. So what is the second heaven? As according to St. Luke, the 10th chapter and the 18th verse, in which Satan will fall from, Satan being a man. Let's continue on. Let's go to Kings right quick, because I wrote this scripture down. So let me bring it up. 1 Kings 8 and 27. And it reads, but will God indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain thee. How much less this house that I have builded? Behold, the heaven and the heaven, behold the heaven. He's talking about the firmament, the sky, and heaven of heavens, the third dimension. I mean, the fourth dimension, the third heaven cannot hold thee, because the second heaven is rulership. It's not a place. It's not a thing. It's rulership. It's a position of power. All right. But he's breaking down even the heavens of the heavens can't hold them. Behold the heaven. Behold the sky. He's telling you. Behold the firmament. The heavens of the heavens. The third heaven can't even hold the Most High. So right here, he's explaining there's more than one heaven. All right. Now let's go to basically this verse here is explain basically the whole understanding of heaven. Because if Satan, and if they referring to the spiritual, the spiritual angel, Satan, being kicked out of heaven, that wouldn't fit, right? But it's just talking about a man who is basically inhabited by Satan and his angels, all right? And he is in rulership because evil runs the world right now. Wickedness runs the world, right? And I explained this in prior episodes that wickedness run the world, and by wickedness running the world, the spiritual angel Satan has vessels. So they're in rulership right now. Let's go to Lamentations 2:1. And it reads, and this is what it means right here, basically, when he said he sees Satan fall from heaven in St. Luke, the 10th chapter and the 18th verse. This is a parallel and this is a parable. This is Lamentations 2:1. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. Now, if we look at the context, as some people look at the context of St. Luke, Satan fell from Satan as lightning was falling from heaven, right? Paraphrasing St. Luke 10 chapter 18th verse. Well, let's say right here, the beauty of the daughter of Zion was cast down to the earth. And he forgot his footstool. The earth is his footstool. They was cast down from heaven. So the daughter of Zion was in heaven too. He was up, maybe he was up there with Satan, and they both did something wrong, and they both got cast down. All the daughter of Zion, the whole nation. Anyway, let's continue on what it means to be cast down from heaven, and giving a description of what happened. How hath, Lamentations 2:1, how hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitation of Jacob, and hath not pity. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and princesses thereof. He hath cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. Horn is where your power, that's representative of your power. He hath drawn back his right hand from before the enemy, and he burnt against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoureth round about. All right. In other words, he brought Israel off their pinnacle. He brought Israel down from rulership. They was in rulership. They had dominion. They was elevated. They was highly renowned. All right. He brought them down to the ground. He made them nothing. He broke their horn. It says right here, cut off their horn. He hath brought them down to the ground. Okay. They're not high up. And even in the world, they have a saying where they say, "Ah, man, this feel like heaven," or "I'm in heaven," or "I'm catching hell." Heaven is above, hell is below. I'm low, I'm feeling high. That's all they saying. And right here, heaven is dominion and rulership, as you see. Now, if you could tell me when the daughter of Zion was in heaven, and the Lord got pissed them off and kicked them out of heaven and cast them down out of heaven. All right, if you look at it simply and literally, all right, it's parabolic. It's parabolic. Let's get another supporting scripture right here, and let's I'm explaining heaven as being a dominion and rulership, and this is Job 26, and I'll begin this at the 11th verse. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astonished at his reproof. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astonished at his reproof. He divided the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smiteth through the proud. By his spirit he hath garnished the heavens. His hand hath formed a crooked serpent. Right? And when you go into that word crooked, it goes back to fugitive. And we know that the serpent's curse was that he's going to be a vagabond and a fugitive in the earth. I mean, Cain's curse was that he's going to be a vagabond and a fugitive in the earth. Salah. It was Cain because he had slew his brother. Cain was, that was the curse that the Lord put on him besides many other curses. All right. And this is Job 26, 11 to 13. But I wanted you to see that the heavens tremble at his rebuke. Paraphrasing. How can the heavens tremble at his rebuke? An earthquake? No. It's talk about the pillars. The pillars of heaven tremble. Now, what are the pillars of heaven? We got to get a precept. The pillars of heaven tremble. Precept must be upon precept. So we go here to Galatians 2 and 9. And it reads, Galatians 2 and 9. And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go into the heathen, and they unto the circumcision. But I wanted you to see that men are referenced as pillars, okay? Like a pillar holding up a roof. They holding up the truth right here in this context. So when we go back to Job 26 chapter, the Job 26 chapter and the 11th verse, it reads, Job 26 and 11, the pillars of heaven tremble and are astonished at his reproof. We jump down to 13. By his spirit he hath garnished the heavens. His hand hath formed a crooked serpent. And and I'm not going to go into it. His hand hath formed a crooked serpent. In the same scripture context, he say he garnished the heavens. Now, when you go into Revelation 12, and I believe the second or third verse, it tells you right there, I've seen a wonder in heaven, a great red dragon, which is a serpent, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so that's talk about dominion, man. The pillars of heaven, that's talking about dominion. And I'm going to go into Revelation 12. Let's go into it. Let's go into Revelation 12. Revelation 12, and I won't even hit the part I mentioned. Let me just go right to the point. And that was Revelations 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Their place, their position. And the great dragon was cast out. Wasn't in Lamentations 2 and 1, didn't the daughter of Zion was cast down to the earth from out of heaven? Okay. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. Wasn't Zion cast out into the earth, into the ground? And his angels were cast out with him. Okay. So, and then I'm going to go up. I wasn't going to go up. In Revelation 12 and 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Because at one point in time, Zion was in rulership. All right. For a very short time, but they was in rulership. Who was next to come on the rulership? Esau, Edom. And guess what it says right here? In the 3rd verse of Revelation 12, and there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. What is a dragon? A serpent. We just read that in Job 26 and 13. His hand hath garnished the heavens. Paraphrasing, his hand hath formed a crooked serpent. All right. So heaven being rulership. And I'm going to give one last scripture, and this scripture pretty much explains everything. All right, it's one of those Lamentations 2 scriptures where you could have just pretty much put that out there and that would have been the end all be all. And this is Isaiah 14, a well-known scripture amongst the circumcision, the brothers that be in the know. And I just want to hear right to the point. Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? But thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregations and the side of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell. Heaven is above, hell is below, to the sides of the pit. That means in the dirt. All right. 16th verse of Isaiah 14. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Is this the man? Well, if we go back up, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? But when we read down here, he said people going to look and say, is this the man? Now, when we look at it by precept, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Now let's go to the scripture. St. Luke 10 and 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Lucifer and Satan must be two different things. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Isaiah 14 and 12. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? And it says, son of the morning, the bright and morning star, which is Yahweh Revelation 21. And Job was telling you when the morning stars sang together, this person is the son of the morning star, which is the spiritual angel Satan. But this is his son, because this is the man that weakened the nations, and his name is Esau. And right now he has dominion of the earth. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The earth is, the wicked are elevated in the earth. They are high. That's why you have wicked rules. That's why you have unjust decrees and things like that, because they are in dominion right now. They run the kingdom of the earth, right? The wicked, all right? And I hope this is edifying to show you that there are three heavens, all right? If I have to break them down and give you the third heaven being a place. That's the fourth dimension where the Father dwelleth. The second heaven being dominion, rulership. I would consider that to be like a position or a state of mind, or a state, so to speak. And the first heaven being the firmament, which is the sky. When you go outside and you look up, and all the earthly bodies are up there. All right. Shalom.